11 weeks of racing all comes down to this. In just a few moments' time, 20 drivers will take on their final, most difficult challenge of the season. 30 minutes around the mountain in the Porsche 718 Clubsport GT4. And I don't think there is a better place to round off the season than Mount Panorama in Bathurst. And after 11 weeks, the championship is already secured for Alon Day, and Michael Schurling has second place in the bag. But three drivers still have a shot at the third position in the standings here on the iRacing Israel League. Welcome this Monday night, and for the final time this season, we're here for 30 minutes of action. My name is Dane Baird, and alongside me is Adam Barth. Adam, welcome along, and I think we've got a great race on our hands for the final time tonight.
Yeah, it's almost as if we've been escalating in difficulty, the tracks that we've gone to over the last few weeks. We were at Interlagos last time out, where we saw something that we didn't expect to see, which was the two leaders take each other out at the end of the first lap. And now we've come to Mount Panorama Bathurst to end the season. And you're right, the first and second positions may be settled in the Drivers' Championship, but our eyes are all fixed on who is going to get the final spot on the podium in the driver standings, with Farran, Hagay Farran, Dorian Tabechnic, Nir Nave, all within just a couple of points of one another. So there is still plenty to watch out for, and of course everybody still needs to survive this perilous circuit here in New South Wales. So I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen in the qualifying session and in the half-an-hour race we've got coming up to end the season.
Absolutely, it's going to be really interesting to see how the drivers handle this circuit. It's, like you said, one of the most difficult circuits on the surface. I think maybe only Belle Isle could really compare, with the walls so close on both sides of the circuit. Most of the lap, up and down the hill, the walls are the track limit. So if you go off, like you can see right there with the pedigree sponsored walls, that is the track limits. You don't get any room for error here. If you make a mistake, you're going to be meeting the wall, and that's not what Porsche would want you to do. Luckily, the drivers don't have to pay for any damage that they get to these cars. I'm sure every single driver will have some damage on their cars at some point in this race. I don't think I've completed a race here without any damage. But like you said, with the third place in the standings, three drivers still have the possibility to come third in the championship. One driver that's not mentioned there is Shalva. He's done incredibly well in the last few weeks, almost taking the win last week at Interlagos. We would have hoped to see him do so, but then obviously the incident with Alon Day, that stopped either of them from taking the win. And it's going to be interesting to see how they play nicely today, because they're, like I said, no room for error, no room for running sideways for much of the lap as well. There's two big straights which will give them some overtaking opportunities, but other than that, this is going to be very single file, I hope, because when we see drivers running too wide around here, it never really ends well.
No, one thing we are going to see is plenty of opportunity to get some overtakes done around here, so long as you make it through the circuit without hitting anything. Especially at this part of the circuit, which we're on board with now with Dorian Tabechnic going into the chase through the chicane here, making sure that you don't take too much of the curbs. These Porsche GT4s aren't the best when it comes to riding them. They are quite big around here. And you can see some representative times are already starting to appear on the lap board. Alon Day, 2:15.8. What can Dorian Tabechnic do in terms of responding to that? Shalva goes up into second, 7/10 of a second away. And we were on board with the provisional pole lap of Dorian Tabechnic. He goes right to the top with a 2:15.463.
Yeah, and I was talking to a couple of the other commentators at Apex Racing TV a couple of days ago, and he showed me a clip from one of his races, and I looked at the top corner of the screen where I could see the current race standings, and there was Dorian. It was a GT4 race at Bathurst in the Michelin Pilot series, which this calendar of the series mirrors. So he's obviously getting some practice done, and he was doing pretty well in that race, so I would expect him to do pretty well in this race. Here's Alon Day then, coming up the hill. You can see just how close these walls are, and to get a good time out here, you really have to be brave and get close to them. Oh, you almost hit that one there. I've had way too many experiences with that inside red wall with the fidget seat branding. And coming up to the top of the hill, and it's all downhill from here. You can see on the track map, left, right, left, right, left, right, and it doesn't seem to end until you get down to what is always going to be in my heart, Falcon Corner.
Oh, the dipper here. Yeah, I really struggle at this part of the circuit. Alon Day's looking pretty good though. Now coming up to the elbow, Forest elbow, gets over to the left-hand side of the circuit. Make sure he doesn't clip that Vulcan concrete wall on the left-hand side. And now we go down the Conrod straight towards the chase. See what kind of speeds they're getting up to in these kind of cars. You can see it on the right-hand side of your picture. We've already got 230 kilometers an hour. We're in top gear, no 8th gear or 7th gear to worry about in these cars. Flying past our camera. I think we might just reach 255, 256 before we get on the brakes down through the gearbox. Back into 3rd gear for the penultimate corner as more times start to come in. Alon Day though, of course it's a lone qualifying session. That's changed after last week where it was a open quali. And let's see if he can improve on the time and go any quicker than what Dorian Tabechnic was able to do. He can. 2 tenths of a second quicker, Dane.
Yeah, but look at Dorian on the bottom of the screen. There's Shalva setting a time. What time is he going to set? That's a very good time there. And there's Dorian, and he gets a 2 minute 14.8. Absolutely flying. As Shalva goes off track, but I think he's just finished. I think they only get 2 laps to complete. Alon Day, you can see a lot of the drivers grayed out on the timing tower. That means they've retired back to the pit lane. I think Dorian here is practicing some starts, it seems, but they do have rolling starts here, so I'm not too sure what he's doing at the moment. Just having a bit of fun with 2 minutes left of qualifying. I think most of the drivers have finished their laps, so that looks like it's going to be more or less the starting order. We'll get that up on the screen in a couple of minutes' time when qualifying is over. Let's have a look at the championship battle for 3rd then. Hagay Farran currently in 3rd with 112 points. 4 points behind him is Dorian Tabechnic. And then we've got Nir Nave just behind him with 93 points. Each of those can score a maximum of 25 points in the race. That's if they win. And Dorian's result is definitely going to be counted. But depending on Hagay Farran's result, I'm not sure if he will actually get the full 25 points because they have 2 drop weeks, so only the top 10 results are going to be counted. But that just proves how well Dorian's done since he's been here. He's only done 6 races and he's currently sitting in 4th, just behind 3rd then.
Yeah, so they've got to make sure that they get to the end of this one, and at a track like this at Bathurst, that's going to be a tall order. We have seen in the last few weeks in this series quite a few crashes on the opening lap which have really throwing the cat amongst the pigeons, especially with Alon Day and the guys at the front. So they'll need to make sure they keep their powder dry in the early going, and then once you get onto the Conrod straight, this straight that we're on here at the end of the opening lap, then you can start to relax a bit. But for those first 2/3 of the opening lap, you're just going to be making sure that you steer clear of any danger, because these cars, if you pick up a bit of damage in them, then most of the time they don't repair well. So, or I should say they're not too easy to drive after that. So Shalva definitely does not have is not able to. This lap won't count, but I do admire his commitment around this lap, and he comes across the line and will obviously stay 3rd. But that's given us something to watch for the final few minutes of the session.
Yeah, and we've only got 1 car left out on track. That's Tomo Ventura, but no matter if his lap is going to count or not, he won't get to finish it. He's going to be unceremoniously kicked off the circuit. There he goes. Checkered flag is out on qualifying. And it looks like he didn't get to set a time, so he will be starting dead last. Let's get the grid up on the screen then. Dorian Tabechnic taking the final pole position of the season. With Alon Day 4 tenths behind, so Tabechnic's that was very, very quick. We've got Shalva in 3rd. Hopefully those 3 can have a bit of a battle here today. Kind of got robbed of that last week. We've got Peter Green in 4th. Michael Sherling in 5th. IMSA Michelin in 6th. And we've got Hagay Farran in 7th. Ahikam Nawa in 8th. Dekelnar in 9th. And Rancioni, he is going to round out the top 10. Gillespie in 11th. Michael Symon back with us in 12th. Yossi Gabai in 13th. Oren Sade in 14th. Then we've got Nirkop Mizrahi in 15th. Ori Lahav in 16th. Yehuda Ben Yosef in 17th. Moshi Pinchevsky in 18th position. Leon Portman in 19th. And Tomo Ventura not setting a time. And he's going to start right at the back in 20th. But not setting a time, that's not unusual here at Bathurst. As soon as you get just a slight touch on the wall, iRacing will give you what they call a 0x, which is basically saying you hit something but not hard enough that we're going to give you an incident point for it. And that invalidates your lap time. So you really have to be very wise to that. I think he might have just had a couple of invalidated laps to his name. All the cars seem to be getting ready on the grid. I think it's a short pace lap. We're gonna, like you can see on the track map there, just before the chase. So on the back of the second straight, you can see how long it is there on the track map. That's probably the best overtaking opportunity on the circuit. So expect a lot of dives into that one. It's a tricky braking zone though. I don't know exactly where the braking point is in these cars. But I know in some cars you might be braking just on that inside curb there, which makes overtaking a little bit more challenging. But the lights are on, and that means we're getting ready to go.
Here we are, yeah, thankfully it's a very short pace lap around here. I believe that's a new update that's to come with the new iRacing build that's due for deployment any day now, where you can make sure that you don't have to do a full pace lap. That's good news for people that want to get this show on the road. Bad news for drivers that want to get their tyres up to temperature, because just like where we were a couple of weeks ago at Donington, they are going to have, what, about 2 corners, and then we're going to get the race underway.
Yeah, very little time for the drivers to get that heat into the tyres and the brakes as well, so they're not going to be warm either. The pace car's going to pull off, cut all those yellow bollards that iRacing usually gives you a penalty for. It looks like Dorian Tabechnic's already off, and into the final corner he goes to start off the 30 minutes around the mountain here at Bathurst. One driver going a little bit right, I think that was Peter Green. He's already lost a position to Michael Sherling, but all single file for the top 8, even 9 cars, with Gil Epstein, the first driver, down in 10th, going side by side. There's still single file as they come through turn number 1 and onto the first of the long straight up the hill over the crest, where we will see them start the second sector. Looks like Michael Sherling is going to have a little bit of a look side by side with Shalva. This is for 3rd position. And it's like he's just going to file in behind and towards this right-hander that takes them into the street circuit kind of section. It is a street circuit. Oh, here. Look at this. This is Decal Nar.
Oh, no.
Now. And oh, no. Alon Day again. He's off. And he's going to have to let every single driver past him. And he's all the way down to the back. Let's see if there's enough damage to his car. I don't think there is, unless there's a bit on the rear of his car, but we're definitely going to have to get a replay of what happened to him all on his own. Has he spun it?
Oh, one of those bumps it looked like on the inside.
Oh, and he almost gets collected by Michael Sherling. He would have been quite unsighted, but I think that's a bit of a theme coming on with Alon Day here. Whenever we get a short pace lap, he seems to spin it on the first lap. So he's going to have a very interesting half an hour race. Dorian Tabechnic once again leading the race. I saw a driver just get marked as off track in the dip. I think there's a couple of drivers. It's like Ori Lahav and Pinchevsky. There is Pinchevsky now. He's all the way down to the bottom, and Ori Lahav has retired to the pit lane. Let's have a look at what happened here. Here's Ori Lahav. Yep. Off track, and he's going to hit that wall very hard, I can imagine. And it's like mushy into the outside wall.
Yeah, it looked like he clipped the inside wall going over the top of the brow. That knocked one of the door mirrors off. You can see it's vanished on the left-hand side of your picture, right-hand side of the car. And he then had a spin as a result. So 2 unrelated incidents. And here's Michael Symon. Good to see him back. He's getting involved in the early action. He's battling away with Yehuda Ben Yosef. Oren Sade also there. And the first lap is in the books. That's how long it is around here. And there's also an overtake going on there. As Gil Epstein and Nahakim now are both fighting over 8th and 9th place. So battles everywhere you look here as the first lap is completed.
Rantioni is looking to get involved here as well. He's currently sitting in 10th in the Golf Oil inspired livery. And he's going to definitely have a look. We've got a nice little battle with 5 cars here. Michael Symon just behind. He's going to want to get involved with this one as well. We'll see if anyone wants to make a move in towards turn number 2 as they come down this extremely long straight over the crest, under the Peders Bridge, and in towards turn number 2 where we just saw Alon Day spin it. Here's the view on board Hikem now. He's gone a little bit wide on the apex, and Gil Epstein, he's not going to go side by side into turn number 3, is he? I think he's backed out. No, he hasn't. He's still side by side, and there's massive contact. Thrown into the outside wall. Luckily doesn't get collected by anyone else, and I think he might be able to carry on. Not too much damage. He's lost his rear wing. Although, from what we saw last week at Interlagos, that might not be a bad thing for him, because that seems to really improve your top speed. Here's Alon Day up into 16th, and he is really stuck behind Oren Sade, isn't he? He seems like he can go a lot faster through this section, but he really cannot make a move here. It's like super narrow and really twisty. There's no ways he can get a move done here. Maybe he can try a dive into Forest Elbow. Other than that, he's going to have to wait for the chase.
Oh. Dave is trying as quick as he can to try and get by. This is going to be brave. Oh, hesitant, but he has got the position into Forest Elbow. That is him up into 15th place. And it was almost as if the concrete wall saved Gillespie there, because if that wasn't there, he would almost certainly have flipped over. But you did call it, Dane, just before that happened. Were they really going to go for an overtake there? They did, and it resulted in contact being made at the cutting. And looks like issues for Rancione. He's dropping back a few places. That's about 2 or 3 positions lost down the Conrod Straight. Not sure what happened to him.
Maybe he got a bad exit out of Forest Elbow. Doesn't look like there's any damage to his car, so he's not hit a wall or anything. But, oh, someone's gone off wide at the exit of the chase there as well. You can see the tyre marks in the gravel. Not too sure who that was, but the cars are still all bunched up. There's Alon making a move on Yehuda Ben Yosef into the final corner. He's now up into 14th position. And Rancione has just made up that move on Nir Cop there. And he's got himself back up into 11th position. He's going to be looking at Yossi Gabay now, who's up into the top 10. And up ahead of them, looks like Ahikam now has checked out. He's well on his way to try and find Dekal Nar. So some interesting battles here. Almost 4 cars here side by side. Michael Symon and Rancione going at it. Rancione looks like he's very down on top speed, so maybe he's got some floor damage that's knocked the engine. And they're 3 wide in towards turn 3. No, not again, guys. And it looks like Nir Cop has had to back out of that one. That was a very heart-stopping moment, and they're still side by side as they come back up the hill.
Something is seriously wrong with Rancione's car, isn't it? He's lost the best part. He's continuing to flounder, and he's down to 13th place. As Peter Green and Amir Michelin. Something happened to Amir. Yes, he's gone around at the bottom of the S's.
We've seen that from a couple of drivers. It's one of the trickiest sections on the circuit. It's a very blind entry. You really have to do a lot of laps to learn where the apex is for that second part of that corner. Let's have a look at what happened. Has he been punted by Peter Green? Let's have a look. Doesn't look like it. Peter Green comes in. No, Amir Meshlam does it all on his own. Loses the wing mirror, which is always the first thing to come off the car with the new damage model. It's quite funny to watch, but let's see what he does. Oh, it looks like his car just unsettles over the crest on the apex of the right hander, and that's just sent him straight into the wall. Nothing he could do about it.
Battle continues here, and this is probably the best battle to watch on the circuit. You've got Michael Symon, easily identifiable by the surname Symon written on top of the car, and Alon is here. He's continuing his resurgence back through the field. He's trying to get by Michael Symon here, coming into the final corner into Murray's. Up the inside he goes, and that is a textbook move in that final corner through the 90-degree left-hander, and that's Alon now back into the top 10. Next up for him is Gil Epstein, the yellow and black car directly in front of us, with no rear wing, of course, after his near flip earlier. And after that, Alon does have his work cut out, because as you can see, the next car is quite a way up the road. That will be a Hakim Nauer, who is 5 seconds away. But one driver we haven't mentioned, who is loving life at the front, is Dorian Tabechnic. He has got a 4-second lead at the very front, and here comes Alon swooping past Gil Epstein on the outside going into turn 2. So Alon within the space of 3 corners has overtaken 2 cars and is now into 8th place.
But like you said, he's going to have his work cut out for him. There's Michael Symon all over the back of Rancione. Goes a bit deep. I thought he was going to slam into the side of Michael Symon, but they're side by side as they come up the hill. And it's like Yossi Gabay has pulled out of that one. Rancione says, hello, I'll have a look. Oh. Side by side, and Yossi Gabay has done so well to keep that one out the outside wall. Some door banging. And he got pushed out to the outside, but he kept it out of the wall, which is fantastic driving from him. Looks like Nir Cop might have a go as well, but he's just pulled out of that one. And here's Michael Symon. He's not going to make a move into here, is he? No, he's going to stay behind. This car looks very weird without a rear wing, I must say.
riding on board with Michael Symon dipping through the dipper, and it looks very unsettled as well. Oh, that was... Well, it didn't look like a gap was there, and something's happened behind us. Something has kicked off between Rancioni and Yossi Gabai. We saw them nearly come to blows at the top of the hill, Dane, and now I think something may have happened at the bottom of the hill at the elbow. Let's have a look at what happened on the replay.
Let's have a look as they come into first elbow. Oh, looks like Rancioni really left that door wide open. He took a very wide line into there. And that's unfortunate for him because Yossi Gabai said, oh, I'll have that. And the door was closed on him. I don't think the gap was ever really there. But here is Michael Symon still on the back of Gil Epstein. So that really poor exit he got didn't help him at all. And I think Gil Epstein, with that missing rear wing, he's not got too much damage to the front of his car. I just can't help but think, does he have a top speed advantage now like we saw another driver have at Interlagos? Michael Symon goes to the move into turn 1, he backs out of that one. The door was firmly closed on him by Gil Epstein, but that's really hindered his exit. And Michael Symon all over the back of him now as they come up the hill towards the crest. And in towards turn 2, I think Simon's going to pull to the inside now. Yes, he is. Side by side in towards turn number 2. Let's see if he gets past it before the braking zone. Yes, he does. And that's a very simple move for Michael Symon up into 9th position. It's good to have him back.
Yeah, good driving there by Michael Symon at 3 places from where he started. So far, biggest mover in the field is Toma Ventura, who started pretty much at the back and has gained 7 places up to 13th. Nir Mizrahi, who is the next car to try and get by Gil Epstein, you can see him there, has gained 4 places. And then after that, we've got a handful of cars that have all gained 3 as the race goes on. You can see on the track map how the field has spread out somewhat. Dorian Tabechnic with a 5-second advantage pretty much. He's on the Conrad straight, you can see on the track map there. Then it's Shalva in second, and then it's a 6-second buffer back to Michael Scherling. It's Alon Day. Well, well, is he going to get 2 positions? I wonder if Dekal now and Hakim now have had a collision or something, because at the beginning of this lap, Alon Day was about 3 seconds away from these 2. And now he's gained 2 places in the space of a lap. Or was he lapping somebody there? That might have been Moshi Penchevsky. Apologies there. That's yeah, that was Alon Day lapping Moshi, the blue car, and also getting by Hakim now.
That must have been a Code Brown moment for him, using those cards like a moving chicane in towards Forest's elbow. I definitely would have stuck behind, but Alon Day wants to get on with things. Threads the needle, and he's up into 7th position. But he's still got another 4 seconds up the road to Dekal Nar in 6th. And then a further 8 or 9 seconds even up the road to Peter Green. And that gap's only going to increase. So it's not the greatest position he's in. Let's have a look at what happened here with Ahikam Nawa. Oh, he looks like he got a bit loose and stamped on the brakes to try and catch it. And that allowed Alon Day past. And then he threads the needle between him and Pinchevsky as he comes down the hill. So really brave driving from Alon Day. Here's the battle back then for, let's have a look, this is for 10th position with Gil Epstein just ahead of Nir Kopp. Still not managed to get past Nir Kopp. There's Oren Sadi who's jumped on the back of this. And Toma Ventura, like you just mentioned, Adam, sitting in 13th just behind them. So it's a good race so far for Toma. He's only just recently joined us in the last few rounds, I believe. So good to see he's making some progress. So side by side in towards turn number 2, Nir Kopp on the inside, and Gil Epstein just turns into him. And Oren Sadi is going to have a look at Gil Epstein now as well as they come in towards turn number 3. And there's Toma Ventura. Is he going to make a move down the inside? I think he thought about it, but in the end I think he just pulled out of that one. And I think that was the smart move. We saw what happened to Gil Epstein just a few moments ago. This is a great shot from the chopper as we come up over the hill.
I think Nir Kopp lost a left-hand door mirror for his troubles in trying to get by Gil Epstein. I wonder how many knocks that Porsche GT4 car has in it for poor Gil Epstein. He's already lost the rear spoiler. Doesn't want to lose too many more parts. We are approaching the halfway mark of the race. Here's a great shot from the helicopter here as we plunge down the hill at Mount Panorama Bathurst. Brock skyline now through the dipper here, this left-right complex, and now the run back downhill towards Forest Elbow. Really hard braking zone to get right. We've seen a few collisions there in this race so far. And just as an Oh, and some of them even brushing the wall. Somebody's lost a wheel, it looks like. There was a wheel bouncing down the shot there, and somebody's also lost a door mirror. That's blue, so it must have been Oren Sade's car.
That is a weird sight to see, a wing mirror just tumbling down the straight, but that was from Oren Sade. You can see he's lost his right wing mirror. And it's like Tomo Ventura wants a bit of the action here. He's going to have a look, and oh no, Oren Sade into Gil Epstein, and that's a big hit into the wall for Gil. And I think that might just be his race over. No, it's not. He's going to carry on. I think he's going to have to pit for that one. Who's that that's gone off? That's Yehuda Ben Yosef dropping down the position. He just gained a couple, and he's just lost both of them again by going wide on the entry of the chase. And Gil Epstein carrying on for now, it seems. He's not going to the pits either. Here's Alon Day then. And he's caught up to Dekel Nar, and now he's ahead of Dekel Nar up into 6th place. 9.5 seconds up the road is Peter Green. That's who he's going to have his eyes set on next. And it's good to see him making his way back up through the field, but I think we've seen this a bit too much this season so far from him in the number 54 car. He's had real troubles when we've had short formation laps, hasn't he?
Yeah, Donington Park wasn't good, but he was able to recover from that there. Mid-Ohio, that wasn't the longest pace lap, and he spun in the first corner, didn't he? Or was that Dorian? No, it was.
No, that was him, yeah.
And he's, well, look, if there was any indication of the proof of Alon Day's talent, just look how quick he's going at the moment. Lap 4, 3 seconds quicker than Peter Green. Lap 5, fractionally quicker. Lap 6, another 3 seconds taken out of Peter Green. What about the sectors? Let's get those up and show you how much he's been taking out just on this lap. 1/3 of a second every single sector. So already he's gained the best part of a second on him, and with 15 minutes to go, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of lap time he sets at the end of this lap. You can see the intervals. It is 7 seconds between Green and Day, and you'd expect if he got past Green, then that would be where he'd finish, because then he'd have to close down another 7 seconds to get to Hagay Farran. But this is turning into a very mighty lap from Alon Day here, as it looks like Moshe Penchevsky may have gone off again. At least it says on the timing screen, as we continue to see personal bests. This is a trait of this GT4 car, the last race we're going to see in the iRacing Israel League of the cars in the GT4 before they move to the GT3 Cup car for next season.
Yeah, the GT3 Cup. Also another Porsche, but a lot of the drivers have been complaining that they don't like how this car drives. They want to move to something, I think, with a bit more power. And that's what they're getting with the GT3 Cup, but they handle pretty similarly. Here's that incident again with Oren Sade and Gil Epstein trying to go side by side in the entry to the chase. And that's not how you want to do it. Let's have another look on board Oren Sade.
It looked as if he got a massive amount of overspeed right at the very end of the straight, almost so much that he couldn't get on the brakes. And I don't know what happened to Yehuda Ben Yosef to cause him going off the circuit. Here's a replay. I wonder if it was just in avoidance of what was going on in front of him. Yeah, I think, just trying to make sure he didn't get hit, and then had to bail on the exit, so that's a shame for him.
Yeah, you could hear as he saw the wreck happening in front of him, he floored it, trying to get ahead of it, so that if they bounced back off the wall straight into the track, he would be well gone from that. He wanted nothing to do with that incident, and he took an off track for it. Dorian Tabechnic out in front, 6.5 seconds ahead of Shalva, and Shalva's doing mightily well in second. He's got a 9.5 second gap to Michael Sherling, and it looks like, from what we're seeing now, with just over 20 minutes left of the race, Dorian will be the one to take that 3rd spot, because we've got Hagay Farran in second, and Nir Nave nowhere to be seen. He's not joined us. He's kind of dropped off from the start of the season. Obviously at Laguna Seca he took the win, and very impressive at Sebring for round 2 as well, but he had that unfortunate incident where he clipped the curb and spun it round. He ended up finishing down in 6th or 7th, and since then he's been more or less 5th or 6th, and the last couple of races I haven't seen him, so unfortunate season for him. I think he thought from the first couple of races it could have gone a lot better for him, but it looks like he's going to have to settle for 5th, as Dorian Tabechnic so far ahead of Yossi Gabay. He's showing up as red on our timing tower, which means he's about a half a lap ahead. So he's actually closer to lapping Yossi Gabay than Yossi Gabay is to overtaking him. And just behind Yossi Gabay's Tomo Ventura, he's storming up the field now up into 12th. He looks like he's catching Yossi as well.
Closest scrap guy on the circuit at the moment. It's just 0.6 of a second between them. Let's see what the lap times are like when they get around to complete this lap 9 of the race. Just over 10 minutes to go in this race in the season. Last time around, Alon Day, by the way, was a second quicker than Peter Green. Oh, someone's spin off at the back. That's Yehuda Ben Yosef. We saw a cloud of smoke, and he's managed to spin the car around and get going again. He has been passed by Aaron Sade, and that final sector is proving to be a tricky one for Yehuda Ben Yosef here. Let's have a look at what happened on the replay. Didn't lose it going in, missed it, and then tried his best to keep it going, but in the end got 2 wheels on the dirt, spun it around, flicked it back around, and only lost 1 place as a result of that.
Unfortunate for him. He was doing pretty well. He's not had the best of seasons. He's also one of the newer drivers to the season. You can still see there's a bit of dust kicked up in the background from that. Here's Leon Portman. He's running up in 17th, up 2 positions from where he started. And he seems to be all on his own. He's about 20 seconds behind him in Meshlam, who is the driver ahead. And Rancioni is just over 20 seconds behind him in 18th. So he's very much on his own. You can see on the track map, he's the number 17. He's the green heading into corner number 2. And there's Dorian Tabechnic with a 2 minutes 13.9. That is the quickest lap we've seen all evening, with just under 10 minutes left of the race. And Shalva's only got a 2 minutes 15. Michael Shelley's only a 2 minutes 16. So no one really challenging. You can see how much he's gaining from Shalva in each of the last few laps. 3/10 in lap 5, 6/10 lap 7, lap 7 was about 9/10. Lap 8 was 8/10. And then that last lap he gained 1.5 seconds. So he's really flying. You can see how much speed he's carrying into these corners. Thought he was about to lose it then.
Yeah, it looks like he's really enjoying himself here. Of course, we haven't seen too much of Dorian in recent weeks. He came back just last week for Interlagos, and then after the first lap, he was involved in a bit of contact. So, and here he is here at Bathurst, and he seems right in his element here. And yeah, those differences in lap time between he and Shalva in second place, a clear indication of just how quick he's going. Potential problems for Michael Symon, was there? It just came up on the timing screen showing he had crashed, but things look okay for him here. He's currently on his own in 9th place, got a 5-second buffer to Nir Kopp in 10th, and a 13-second gap to Hakim Nauer in 8th place. So having a quiet closing stages of the race here is Michael Symon, but 3 places gained and on course for a top 10 finish to complete the season. He'll be happy with that. What's going on in terms of the fight for third in the championship? That's something we need to quickly shed light on. The 3 drivers in the hunt for it are Hagay Farran, Dorian Tabechnic and Nir Nave. Only 4 points between Dorian and Hagay, and if my knowledge of the point system is correct, Dane, then I think Dorian at the moment is going to score enough to leapfrog Hagay into 3rd place.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, they use the FIA point system. Oh, what's happened here? We've got Dekar Nar from 8th position. He's had a run in with the wall. Looks like he also had a puncture, which does happen if you hit the wall too hard. Let's see, does he clip the inside wall? Oh, he's just locked it. Looks like he's locked the rear brakes, and oh, he's hit that tyre barrier pretty hard. And that is not a happy looking Cayman. I think I've said that way too many times this season. And that front right tyre looks very much deflated to me.
I managed to get through the chase with some difficulty, didn't he? Oh, it's trying to
really doesn't want to turn, does it? I think Michael Symon, there he is. He's going to look at this and say, oh, hello, I'll take 8th place, and he's going to definitely pit. There's Dekar Nar. That car looks very undrivable. He's gonna, let's see how he does with the chicane on the entry. Oh, he's had to almost stop to get around there. Oh, and he almost hits the tyre barrier as well. That's very unfortunate for him. Gillespie in the pits as well. He's been there for a while, it looks like. So unfortunate for him. He's taken his repair and he's got his rear wing back. Someone's retrieved that. Run along back down to pit lane. Now they've stuck it back on his car. And hopefully we'll see him back out on track. They do have a fast repair and it looks like Decalnar's just taken his. I think Gillespie is just going to sit on pit lane for the rest of it. There's only just over 5 minutes left.
Running on board here with Tomo Ventura, who's in 11th place, 9 spots gained. Now has got the honour of being the biggest gainer in the field so far. Well, he's made the most gains in the field so far. But Alon Sade wants to take one of those places back, and this is turning into a decent scrap. Just in front of these two is Yossi Gabay, who we switched to the front of the car. There he is, the bright green car. But that wasn't the best line through the cutting, was it? And he now could be under even more pressure from Sade. Just a little mistake and Sade will be right on him. And on this part of the mountain you cannot afford to make a mistake, as I think a fight for third could potentially be on the cards, as Hagay Farran has got Michael Sherling. The gap is now down to 0.3 of a second, and if Hagay Farran wants to stop Dorian Tabechnic from taking third in the championship standings, he's going to potentially have to get by Michael Sherling here, and even then it might not be enough.
I think for Farran to keep third position in the championship, he's going to have to win. I think he'll have to outscore Tabechnic, because I think there's a 7-point gap between first and second in the points, and he only needs to gain 4.
Oh, there you go.
So Farran needs to win to get third, and right now I don't think Dorian. Oh, Peter Green's touched the grass in the entrance of the chase, and he's gonna take the mini jump. It's not the big jump that we normally see at Bathurst. Oh, he hit the wall as well, and that's a tyre missing. I don't think he hit the wall that hard. Oh, I think that's just a bit of a glitch in the damage system there, because the tyre is well and truly back on the car. But unfortunate for him, that wing mirror is gone, as we see so often in these cars. And oh, almost contact. There is contact. Yossi Gabay is off as well. He's got some serious oversteering. Ended up, I've never seen the car end up there before. And it looks like he's stuck. There's a, oh, I see. There's a small lip in the grass there. I think he's got 2 wheels either side of it, and he is well and truly stuck.
Oh no, I know the feeling. I've been on other sims. I've been beached on curbs in single seaters, on curbs that are clearly not designed for single seaters. And Yossi Gabay was trapped, and he's had to return to the pits with 3 minutes to go. That is a massive shame for him. But back to the battle for third.
There's only going to be a couple more laps as well, so if Hagay Farran wants to get a couple more points, he's going to have to get them now. He's only got a couple more overtaking opportunities as the sun is setting. I think the sun has set on Bathurst. The sun is to the left-hand side, I think, so maybe we'll see a beautiful sunset. And if it's already gone, then I've totally missed it. I think, judging by that building just up ahead, I think the sun is still up. It would be good to see that at some point. There's Michael Sherling on board now, riding with Hagay Farran just behind him. He's increased the gap slightly on that last lap, as we are about to see on the right hand side of the screen. And he's definitely under pressure now, and pressure is not something you want to be feeling around Bathurst, because that's going to make those walls seem ever closer. With just over 2 minutes left, I think we're going to have enough time for one more lap after this one, as Yossi Gabay is pitted and he's coming back out onto the circuit to rejoin in 16th, and he's going to have to then try and catch the drivers in blue on your screen, which are the drivers either have been lapped or are soon about to be lapped by our leader.
Yeah, you could see Yossi Gabay rejoining the track just at the back, very back of that shot, as Michael Sherling takes a little bit of curve through the second corner. I think the one thing that was good for Yossi was that the toe wasn't that long really. He was right next to the pits when it happened. Hagay Farran taking the widest possible entry into the cutting. Now up the hill we go. Brilliant part of the circuit this. This is why we love coming here. Bathurst 12 hours as well. Bathurst 1000 in the V8 Supercars too. And if we come here next season in the Porsche GT3s, it'll be even bigger spectacle. Just half a second here as Michael Sherling throws his all-black Porsche at St McPhillamy Park. Now up to Brock Skyline. Back down the hill we go. Oh no, Tomo Ventura's lost a place to Oren Sade. You just saw the position change there. We'll have a look at a replay of that in a moment, but this is the fight of the race so far. The fight for the final spot on the podium. Surely he's not going to go for a move here. Oh, is he even going to make the corner? Somehow Michael Sherling does. I thought for a certain he was going to go straight on, but now he's under severe pressure going onto the Conrod straight here, Dane.
Absolutely, that poor entry into the Forest Elbow means he's got a worst exit possible, and Hagay Farran with all of that draft that this car doesn't produce, and he's going to have to go the long way around through the kink on towards the chase. Here they come, and Hagay Farran has made the move. Is Michael Sherling going to hold it all the way around the outside? He's going to try to, then he's going to have to fall back, and he's moved down into fourth. Hagay Farran up into the final podium position. And we are white flag racing here at Bathurst. 1 lap to go. Dorian Tabechnic absolutely flying around Bathurst. He did tell us last week it's his favourite track. And I think we know why now. He really has looked like he's enjoyed every second of this so far. And oh, that's a very unhappy looking car there. Tomo Ventura down in 12th, and he's going to struggle to get that going back in a straight line.
Oh,
Let's have a look.
Just when I was saying he was having such a good race as well. This is McPhillamy Park. Turns in. Oh, gets a big tank slapper. Is it going to spin the other way? Oh, he takes a bit of the wall on it as well. Then carries on rolling backwards and then loses the rear spoiler for good measure as well, copying Gil Epstein in that regard. That's a shame for him because at one point he was up in the top 10 and had gained 10 places. Now he's down to 12th and he's got Yehuda Ben Yosef arriving behind him as well, and the fight for third isn't over by any stretch of the imagination either as we start the final lap.
Yeah, if I was Hagay Farran, I'm not sure if I would have been brave enough, and I might have just stayed back from Michael Sherling, because Michael Sherling's been able to hold that gap around 3/10, and if he can get a good exit back onto the comrade for the final time, there's a very big possibility he could be taking. Oh, and Michael Sherling in the inside wall, outside wall even. Looks like he got a bit of oversteer, and he's just tapped the wall, it looks like, and that's allowed Hagay Farran to increase that gap to 1.5 seconds. So unfortunate for him. They're both missing a wing mirror actually. That outside one, but herein is a man that has absolutely dominated this race. Dorian Tabechnic, as he comes towards the final corner for the last time. He's going to close the season off in style. The sunset just ahead of him on the grass as he crosses the line to win at Bathurst. Dorian Tabechnic will take first position and also third in the championship, so good stuff for him. Shalva still just taking the final corner. He's going to finish in second. There's Rancioni in the background of that shot. Hagay Farran's made an absolute mess of the chase, and there's Michael Sherling taking third. Once again, a last lap error from Hagay Farran. We saw it last week in Interlagos, so Michael Sherling's going to take third.
Oh, unbelievable. I did not expect that to happen. Oh, and something's happened at the final corner. Alon Day's in a spin.
Alon Day!
Has he crossed the line? No, he hasn't. He's going to come across the line now. He starts the race with a spin and he ends it with a spin. Doesn't lose any places this time, but he finishes in 5th after starting, 2nd on the grid. And that is not how he wanted to end the race, but at least he didn't lose any places.
That was a very tense moment there from him, I'm sure. And if he hadn't made that mistake, Hagay Farran was going very slowly. The start-finish line is very close to the exit of that final corner for whatever reason. I think you might have to do something with the FIA licensing. I think they have a rule about 200 meters before the first corner or something like that. Here's a late lunge from Dekal Nar. Almost contact, trying to get 10th position off of Oren Sade for the final overtaking opportunity on the circuit. Oren Sade looks like he's going to be pretty safe if he can make this last corner all right. And I think he has done just that. He's going to cross the line. It's right there under that bridge, so they've already crossed the line now. And Oren Sade takes 10th with Dekal Nar in 11th. Then there's Yehuda Ben Yosef is currently in 12th. And he's got no one anywhere near him, so he should be perfectly fine to finish there in the number 10 car. And then Tomo Ventura is not too far behind him. There he is. and he's gonna finish what could have been race, I think, for him, as Pinchevsky's off again.
Oh yeah, that's at the chase. Has Alon has Dorian Tabechnic already come back to the bits? Not too sure. Yeah, he's already. Oh, I think we have it. Are we having some
jumps?
Yeah, we're having some air displays here. I think everybody else has been through, unfortunately. So we are going to have to see Boshi Pinchevsky come across the line now in 18th place. Here he is through the final corner. He's already been lapped, but oh, just about misses in there. Does Rancioni as the donuts are in full effect. Where's Dorian Tabechnic? Can we get a good camera of this? I think that's as good as we're going to get. But there he is. He's delighted with that win. Well, a great way to end the season for Dorian Tabechnic. But for Hagay Farran, the bubbly was very close. But unfortunately for him, something intervened to stop him getting it. And we're going to see a replay of what that was now on this replay. So we go over the top of the hill. This is at the chase. Going to go around the outside of Sherling here. In fact, is this the replay from the previous lap? It is, isn't it? So this is how... Oh, so he goes up the inside and it's through. And that was what happened on the previous lap. So let's have a look at what happened late on then to mean that Michael Symon got back by ahead. That was on the previous lap. And I'm having an absolute mare here. Bear with me for 2 seconds. Here we go. Right, we'll go from here. So, out of the Forest Elbow, onto the back straight we go then, onto the Conrod straight. At this point, Hagay Farran looks a nailed-on certainty to finish in the podium positions. Following Michael Sherling's brush with the wall halfway around the lap. Through the chase we go. This is where he got the overtake done on Michael Sherling a lap ago. Oh, bounces over the curbs. That wouldn't have helped too much. Into the chicane we go. Oh, well held, I must say. Because the system didn't register him going off the circuit at all. And
there's Alon Day right on the back of him. I didn't think he was going to catch up at that point. And there he is, loses it under braking, and he goes all the way around.
Starting the donuts a lap early, isn't he?
Yeah, he definitely has. He had something to celebrate, of course, finishing 5th today, but winning the championship, so he definitely had a reason to do some donuts. I think maybe he might have done that on purpose. He didn't need to score any points today. He had already clinched the title before then. All the drivers are off the circuit then, and I think we've got the race results. There they are. Dorian Tabechnic winning the race by 10.8 seconds at the end. That is an absolutely dominant performance from him. He obviously loves driving the circuit. We'll get to have a chat with him in just a few moments' time. Shalva then in 2nd, Michael Sherling in 3rd, Hagay Farran in 4th. He thought he was going to get 3rd, but it wasn't to be. Alon Day, our champion, in 5th. Peter Green in 6th. Higam Nawa in 7th. Michael Symon in 8th. Nikot Mizrahi in 9th. And then Oren Saleh just behind in 10th. Dekel Nar right behind him. They finished within a second of each other. He finished in 11th, and Yehuda Ben Yosef in 12th. Then the rest of the drivers, we've got Toma Ventura, Rancioni, Leon Portman, Yossi Gabay, Gil Epstein, Moshi Pinchevsky, and then 3 laps down was IMSA Michelin after that unfortunate incident near the beginning of the race. And Ori Lahav did not finish. He was quite a few laps down. We're getting some beautiful scenic shots of the circuit. And I think we are going to have some interviews. Let's see who's turned up, or a lot of people have. We've got quite a bit of time for some interviews, and I think there is no other driver we could start with than Dorian Tabechnic, our race winner. I think we'll try and get all the podium drivers, and definitely Alon Day in here as well. But for now, our race winner then at Bathurst for the final time in the GT4 car in the iRacing Israel League, rounding out the season in style, Dorian Tabechnic. Welcome.
How you doing, fellas?
We're doing very well. Yeah, you did a fantastic job there. 11 seconds at the end of the race. You clearly loved this race a lot. You were flying out there.
Yeah, I had my fastest lap, on this race throughout the week. I did a 13.9. I've never been able to go below 14s. I think Alon really nailed it with the setup. The car felt really good. I saw the temperatures were going down as we were starting to race, so I was like, all right, let's just try to. I mean, as soon as Alon crashed, it was unfortunately kind of boring, but it's Bathurst, so it's never really boring. You always gotta stay on your toes. It was fun.
Yeah, you look like you're enjoying yourself quite a bit, really throwing the car around the mountain. I definitely wouldn't have been as brave as you, that's for sure. We got some lovely pictures of you throwing it around the mountain there. So that's the final race of the season then, and we'll be coming back with the iRacing Israel League. Next race will be the start of season 2 in the GT3 Cup. Do you have much experience driving that one, or is that going to be a new experience for you?
I've never driven the car, and as it seems, I'm not gonna participate next season. I feel like I'm gonna stick to the GT4s, especially due to the update the Cayman's getting and the M4 coming out. So I'm not gonna have time to compete with two different cars. But I wish everybody all the best. I mean, Amir and everyone did a fantastic job getting this league together. I really enjoyed my time here. Maybe I'll join a different season.
Well, we'll be sad to see you go. You've given us a lot of entertainment over the past few weeks, and best of luck then for your GT4 pursuits. Assuming you're going to do the esports sprint challenge and the Michelin Pilot challenge as well. So good luck for that, and congratulations! You've also taken third place in the championship after this one.
Yes, that was sweet. But the best part of the race is easily the jump. Have you seen my jump?
Let's go and have a look at it. We've got to get it
We
up.
haven't actually. Let's see if
You
we can get
haven't?
it up.
Oh,
Then
it's
we didn't
legendary.
see it. No, we were busy
Yes,
watching someone else.
hands down,
Let's
best
see.
best jump I ever had.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, he landed it as well. That's beautiful. Oh, the speed that you carried out of that. That's
I'm so
amazing.
happy. I was so happy it landed.
Let's see how lovely. Oh, beautiful. Lovely slow-mo shot of this. Let's have a look at you getting some serious air over the jump at Bathurst. A little bit sideways on entry. Shalva was right behind you.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was
think
really
Shalva
no
fared
fun.
so well, and the ball
Tire.
corrected you slightly as well.
I
You
have to
were rolling a
apologize
little bit.
to I have to apologize to Hagay. I was calling out on comms to Shalva to jump with me, and it seemed like it interrupted Hagay, and that's why he had an accident.
Oh,
So I
right.
gotta say sorry. Wasn't my intention at all.
Oh dear.
Oh well.
Looks like Rancioni joined you with that as well, a bit late. That was really cool to see. Actually, that's a really clean jump. That's quite impressive. So there's
Yeah.
another thing to congratulate you on. Congratulations on the win and
Best
third place
jump
in the
trophy.
championship and on that jump.
Definitely best jump trophy. All
Well,
right, fellas.
Dorian, thank you so much for joining us in the commentary box. We're sad to see you go. Hopefully, you'll be back with us for some other time. But thank you for joining us and congratulations.
Thank you guys for being here the whole season and doing such amazing work. It's really a treat to watch the replays and watch you guys commentate. It's a lot of fun. Makes it a lot better than just racing with your friends. It gives it something extra. Good job, guys.
Thanks a lot, Dorian. Well done today.
Cheers.
Oh, that was yeah. We completely missed that. My part on the directing there. Right, let's move on to second place. Shalva, who isn't here, so let's move on to third place, who was Michael Sherling, who benefited from Dorian's plea for people to do some jumps, and he's now on the podium positions. And well, Michael, welcome. On the penultimate lap, it looked like the third place may have gone, but we heard from Dorian that after some intervention from him over the radio, Hagay Farran made that mistake, and you were able to get third place in the end. Oh, Michael, can you hear us?
Oh dear.
I'd set him up as well. We'll keep him at arm's length in the interview waiting area. We'll move on to Hagay Farran, who was in third place, but then ended up losing it in a painful way, just coming to the line. And he joins us now in the interview room. Hagay, can you hear us?
Hi guys, how you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Hopefully you're okay after what happened on the final lap. It looked like you got third place, but we heard from Dorian that he came across on the radio, and then you then made a mistake at the chicane. Is that right?
To be fair, it's a driver mistake, and that's all there is to it. I'm still very, very happy with the race. I didn't manage to practice too much, and I felt this was the best fight I had with Sherling the entire season. Super clean fight. I was stoked about the overtake, you know. So it's the end of the season, getting ready for the next one. I'm happy.
Yeah, we're just going to watch it back on the replay now. You picked up a very good slipstream down the Conrod Straight, and through the chase, I was holding my breath. I thought both of you were going to collide at one point, but as you said, it was a brilliant piece of racing between the pair of you, and you were able to get the move done at that point into the chicane.
Yeah, I think we feel very comfortable racing each other. So, you know, when you're racing somebody that you have confidence with, then you allow yourself to maneuver in that way. So I was quite happy I managed to stick the overtake. And then, like I always do, I screwed up the last minute, you know, just to have some fun. Yeah, that's it. Very happy.
What are your overall thoughts on the season, and one of good progress for yourself?
Myself, not so much, but it wasn't about me. It was about the league. I'm very, very happy. Uh, Progress-wise, I'm going to get ready, hopefully better for the next season, and then, you know, try to really push myself harder.
Well, hard luck on that final lap there. After pulling off a very decent move to get up into third place at the time, but yeah, looking forward to seeing what you get up to next season in this series, and yeah, thanks for taking the time to come and speak to us today, Hagay.
Thank you, guys. Have a good.
All right, next is who have you got then, Dane, for a quick word?
I think after all of those guys, I think there's only one other person we can go to at this point, and that is Le Champion. Let's see if we can get him in here for a quick word. We've got him in now, the champion for the iRacing Israel League GT4 series, Alon Day. Welcome back to the commentary box.
Hello. Yeah, I'm the champion.
Well, fully deserved. 6 wins in the 12-week season, and you even missed the first 2 rounds as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had some good couple wins in the middle of the season that I managed to open a gap. But overall, it was a good season. The last couple of races, I don't know what happened. This car ain't fun driving first lap, so every time I feel like I press the Sebastian Vettel button again and just spin for no reason. But it was fun. It's always good fun. I actually thought about it before the race. We talked about it. Maybe I will start from the back of the grid just for the fun, and see how many places I can gain. And eventually, that's what happened.
Well, it seems like, from what I've seen, every time that you've spun it on lap 1, it's been where we've had a very short formation lap, so you've had barely any time to get heat into your tyres. And every single time we've gone to a short formation lap, you've spun it on the first lap. And I actually mentioned that on the formation lap. I think I actually might have given you the commentator's curse there, so sorry about that. But, 5th place is very respectable. You almost had 4th in your sights after Hagay made that error on the last corner. I saw Hagay come across the line, and then you spun again. Yeah,
I spun again. Yeah.
Started and finished the race with a spin, but I just saw you in the background. I was like, "Oh wait, who's that? Oh, it's Alon. Where did he come from?"
yeah. Actually, after the first spin, I was really on qualifying mode again with the knife in between my teeth, and I was going full throttle. I passed, I don't know, 3-4 cars in one lap every lap. It was good fun. It's extremely scary, especially with that car that you never. It's impossible to predict what the car is going to do, especially with those ads and technology that the car have. I'm so glad that next year we are going to to drive a different car with a bit less technology or less ads for the drivers, and I think it's going to be different story next season.
Yeah, next season. That's going to start back on. Let's have a look at my notes. I believe it is the 22nd of June, so it's still on Mondays, and it's going to be at Le Mans. So that's going to be an interesting one. Lots of straights to aid some overtaking. That's going to be in the GT3 Cup for next season. Do you have much experience driving that car in iRacing?
No, not really. Not in iRacing, just a couple laps. I think this car is extremely powerful. It's gonna be fun. That's for sure. I mean, I drove the car in real life and it was fun. So I'm pretty sure in iRacing it will be fun. I hope for close races. You can see that some drivers are getting better and better, like Shalva, for example. That I'm pretty sure he's gonna be there in the end of the. He's gonna be there next season. Definitely fighting for the championship. So I'm pretty sure it's gonna be fun.
It's going to be great fun for us to watch as well, and that's going to be on the Apex Racing TV YouTube account as well. So we're going to have potentially a lot more viewers for that as well. So it's going to be really fun season for that one, and also 12 races, and that's going to be a really fun season. I think the GT3 Cup car is going to provide some really great racing. But from what I've heard, it drives very similar in iRacing to what it does in the real world. So maybe you said you had a bit of real world experience with it. You might have a slight advantage over the rest.
Yeah, I drove it before I changed my career into stock cars, so I don't really remember.
Big difference between those two, I must say.
Yeah, I went totally to the different direction. All I know is just holding the steering wheel and still having the old gearbox, H gearbox. So yeah, it's totally different.
Well, congratulations on the championship title. I'm sure you're going to be back up there again in next season, and that's going to be starting in 3 weeks time. So a bit of a break for you to go and get some good practice in for Le Mans, and hopefully you'll be back in not spin it.
Yeah. During that time, I also have the championship, the eSport NASCAR championship that I'm also participating there. So I'm fully booked till next season. I'm still busy with the simulator, but I'm sure. I guess a few weeks before the season starts, I will start practicing on a new car. And thank you guys also for commentating. You guys pushed the level of the championship to a different level, and it's really nice every time to watch. Really entertaining. So thank you guys.
No worries. We've loved doing it. I'm sure Adam feels the same.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Well done, Alon. It's been a privilege to see you on track throughout the season, and yeah, best of luck next season in the GT3 car.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
Well, that is the champion Alon Day then. And Adam, do you think we've got time for one more interview? I think we've still got a driver waiting.
Yeah, let's try and get Michael Schurling in one last time. Touch wood, we can hear from him. Michael, can you hear us?
Yeah, hey guys, I apologize for earlier.
No, it's all right. Yeah, we got you in the end, and it was an exciting final few laps for you. It looked like that Hagay Farran had just overtaken you with 2 laps to go, but on the last lap he made a mistake and you were quick to get by.
Yeah, I don't know. This that I took the place eventually back, it's not comfortable. It's not like good for me because I was really upset he overtook me. But he drove super good, and I guess it would happen eventually. I just felt really bad. It happened in the last 2 laps after I worked so hard all the race to try and be stable. But good for Hagay eventually for the race. Too bad it happened at the end. What happened to him?
It's been a fantastic end to the season for you with the podium positions and the win as well. You must be delighted with how the second half of the season's gone.
Yeah, it was each race was really good. It looks like I have this curse, the 3rd place curse. That no matter what, I finish 3rd if something goes wrong. Yeah, it was really good, especially in this race, in this track. It was very difficult for me. So I'm good, very happy with the result. Let's say I'm very happy I finished it at all and didn't crash or stuff like that. So yeah.
Time's running out, Michael, but yeah, well done on the podium positions today, and all the best next season in the new car as well.
Thanks a lot, guys. See you next season, and thank you very much. You make it really exciting and fun. I'm going to watch your commentary now.
No worries, no worries. Take care, Michael. Good to hear from him there in the end, Michael Sherling. And yeah, you're right. That's it then, Dame. That brings the curtain down on a memorable season. We've enjoyed every moment that we've shared together in the commentary box. And next season we've got a new car, a new channel as well. We're moving over to the mothership really on the Apex Racing TV YouTube channel, and of course next season it'll be happening every other week. So every other Monday we'll be here for the next 12 weeks to for the next 12 races to bring you the iRacing Israel League.
Absolutely, it's been an absolutely fantastic league for us to cover. It's always provided us some great racing week in and week out, whether that's because one of the fast guys decides to start from the back, or when we've just had some really great racing overall. First couple of races were good, then Alon Day joined and he kind of stormed away with things, and then the second half of the season we had some fast guys join them, and that in the form of Dorian Tabechnic and Shalva, and that's just brought us with some great racing. I can't wait for Alon and Shalva, and also from what I've heard, Hagay is pretty quick in the GT3 car as well. Hopefully they'll bring us some great racing in that one for next season. And yeah, that's all we have time for the final round of the season. After 12 weeks, Alon Day is your iRacing Israel League champion. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have joined us for the whole season, then we hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Obviously, next season will be on this channel as well, but also on the Apex Racing TV channel. We'll have a lot more viewers, so it's going to be a really good season too, I'm sure. From Adam and I, everyone at the iRacing Israel League Championship and Apex Racing TV, we thank you for watching and we wish you a good night and happy racing. And we'll be back on Monday, June the 22nd, same time, 2200 Israel time for the first round of Season 2 at Le Mans. See you then.